Greetings, all of you musos, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is a 2014 anime directed by Kyohei Ishiguro. I actually got these names correct the first time. I'm so proud of myself. Kyohei also directed Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop, which I've been seeing around. It looks pretty cool. Obviously, Your Lie in April was adapted from a manga, and this also spawned a live action film and even a musical. I'm very surprised by that. The voice acting talent seemed to come from a wide variety of shows and movies, actually big ones. But I'm just going to list them out because if I listed every single one, it would take too long. There are just that many. So there's voice actors from The Disastrous Life of Saiki K, which I've done a review on, link in the description. Demon Slayer, Dandadan, Kakegurui, Tokyo Ghoul, Spy X Family, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, Food Wars, Kotaro Lives Alone, I love that one, A Silent Voice, A Whisker Away, and more, which I'm not going to get into because I want to finish by today. Quickly before we begin, I want to give a trigger warning and a spoiler warning. Ooh, double. So a trigger warning because this series depicts abuse, trauma, and even death. So don't continue if you're sensitive to those things. They get brought up a few times. And a spoiler warning because obviously some terrible things happen to the main cast, which is the crux of the show. So I don't want to say, oh, everyone dies in a giant nuke at the end, because that's the whole point of the show. So just, if you're interested, give it a watch. Obviously there is going to be a spoiler warning towards the ending, but if you're interested, give it a watch. It's not that long. It's only one season, but yeah. Okay, enough warnings. Let's go. We meet Kosei, a child prodigy piano player who has retired due to some trauma that is revealed throughout the show. So he's a piano player. His friends, Tsubaki and Ryota, introduce him to Kaori, a violin player who is also quite good. Kaori asks Kosei if they can do a duet performance together, and that's when the show really kicks off. So right away, there is a love triangle, great, or a love square in this case. Kosei has two friends, Tsubaki and Ryota. Tsubaki is the typical childhood friend with a huge crush on Kusei. Everyone can see it, except for them, obviously. Tsubaki sets up a date between Ryota and Kaori, and of course, because they have a duet, there are some feelings between Kosei and Kaori at some point. We dive really deep into Kosei's trauma and how this affects his playing throughout the show. He explains that he sometimes can't hear the piano when he plays. It's a mental block from his mother's passing. So obviously, if you can't see, you probably won't be able to walk very well. Same thing here. Since music is all about listening, he plays terribly when this block comes in because he can't hear if he's playing correctly or not. Despite this obvious weakness, his friends eventually convince him to be Kaori's accompanist, and that's the specific term that they used. It's basically a duet performance, piano supporting violin, which is like the lead instrument, you know. Tsubaki is battling her feelings for Kosei, and Ryota is scared of losing his sports games. And we see that Kaori goes to the hospital. We don't know if she's going for herself or visiting some sick relatives, but we can see that most of the cast have some big struggle that they're working with that they will hopefully resolve by the end of the show. Character arcs, character development, all that stuff. So we're already setting up a bunch of interesting plot lines now, early on. So performance 1. They've practiced, and Kosei and Kaori perform in a music competition. So all the musical pieces that are played in the show are under musical performances. So the performance happens, and it was rocky. Kosei stops playing due to his mental block. Obviously, everyone saw this coming, and this causes Kaori to stop as well. They ended up finishing the piece anyway, but they were disqualified from the competition because stopping is definitely not allowed. You have to finish the whole song through. As soon as the performance ended, Kaori passes out backstage. It turns out that she has some kind of illness or sickness, and she says that she is anemic. Flashback, we see some of Kosei's mother. So the origin of his trauma was hinted before, and we see it now in great detail. His mother physically and mentally abused him during piano training. When she passed away, that was when he got the mental block, not hearing the notes anymore. So it's a mixture of hatred and mourning that he just never got the time to process because he was too young. Performance 2 was a solo performance at another competition We're introduced to some side characters, and these rivals saw him play as a kid and decided they want to be just like him. Anyway, onto the performance. Kosei stopped playing again, but continued and finished the song like last time. He was disqualified, but that was a big stepping stone for him to actually get up and play by himself. We meet Kaori's parents. They seem nice, but you can tell that they know exactly what's going on with Kaori. They're obviously heart sore, but they're still trying to keep a happy face on, you know. Performance number 3, Kusei and Kaori get invited to a fancy gala. Kaori actually doesn't show up in time, so Kosei ends up playing the song by himself. The song he plays happens to be one of his favorite songs that his mother used to play as a kid. Pause, I haven't mentioned this, but during the performances, it's not like the characters play the song and then that's done. There's a lot of dialogue from the performers, what they're thinking, their emotions while they're playing. And the audience can see what they're playing and comment on how they're playing and reflects their emotions, but more on that later. So during the performance related to his mom, Kosei thinks about his mom while playing. He mourns her and he misses her. It was so sweet, but it felt like that was supposed to be the ending to the entire series. I think that what I'm looking for is conclusive, so the performance ends and we push through. So the reason Kaori didn't come to the performance, everyone thought that she ditched them, but she actually collapsed again and her parents took her to the hospital. Kosei noticed that this is not long after the last time she collapsed, meaning that whatever is going on with her is getting worse. And unfortunately, he compares her to his late mother, which is really bad because she died. Further evidence is that Kaori and a nurse were talking and they mentioned an IV drip. You don't get IVs just because you hit your head or you've got a little flu. IVs are typically used for more serious things, long story short. We also dive a bit deeper into Kosei and Tsubaki's relationship. Kosei decides to attend a music school instead of their own school, obviously to pursue music. And Tsubaki feels really bad about him potentially moving away, and she finally realizes that she does in fact have feelings for him. No shit, bro. Everyone can see this except for you. Meanwhile, Kaori has become so weak that she can no longer walk. Just a quick update. Performance number 4. Kusei starts mentoring and teaching a promising young pianist named Nagi. Nagi also saw him play as a kid and decided to learn the piano as well. They play a piano duet together and it goes okay. In the end, Nagi got the big applause and the validation that she needed and decides to continue pursuing music. Nice. Kosei also enters another competition, so this is performance 5. He manages to get through the first round and the finals are coming up. This will determine whether he does well in the competition and goes to the nearby music school, or completely fails and heads overseas to start a new career. Long story. This upsets Tsubaki because she likes Kosei and doesn't want him to leave. She ends up confessing this to him as close to direct as possible while still being indirect. Listen, Kusei is an idiot and he doesn't get it, but she needs to be a bit more direct, bro. While this happens, Kosei realizes that he actually likes Kaori. We know by now that he's slow, so he can't find the right time to confess to her because hospital visits and appointments and etc. Kaori probably also likes Kosei. Again, everyone's indirect with their feelings, but she decides to go through with a risky surgery so that she has at least more time, or best case, she is completely healed of her sickness. Sorry, pause quickly. I don't think we ever know what Kaori's illness or sickness is. I think it's something made up that's just causes her to be sick, you know. So in a very dramatic last few episodes, Kosei's final performance is played at the same time as Kaori's surgery. So it jumps back and forth between the two. And here is the final spoiler warning of the ending. This is obviously where the whole show is built around, and the lie in April is to be revealed. Ooh. Okay, here it goes. So this is how the series ended. I think this is the last 2 episodes. Kosei had the first good performance in the entire series. That sounds really mean, but it's because his trauma messed up all of his performances until now. During the song, he mentally summons Kaori and wishes her a final goodbye as they play together and she disappears. Her disappearing means that the surgery did not go well. She passed away. In the epilogue, Kusei reads a letter that Kaori wrote to him. Basically, it's just her explaining that she also watched him play as a kid and wanted to play with him in a duet. And here's where I got frustrated because everyone has the same backstory. They all saw Kusei, the kid prodigy, and they all got inspired. And the whole world revolves around this man, and we get it, okay? Anyway, it turns out that Kaori always liked Kusei, and the titular lie in April that she told was that she liked Ryota instead. So she just wanted to play with him, and this was the only way to get close to him, is to set up this date with this guy. And her plan worked. She got to play with him as, I guess, her last wish. She just couldn't play as much as she wanted. In the end, Kosei reflects on everything so far, all the people that have helped him. Finally, Tsubaki confesses to him, again, indirectly, but close enough. I think he's starting to get it. It looks like they'll be playing this game for a while. Oh, these kooky kids. And the series ends. Done. So, that was cool. I appreciate music and musicians being represented in an anime. I think the best we've got, now, are documentaries about the real people, and I guess musicals count as well. The newest trend I've been seeing is a live action movie about the life of a popular artist or group. For example, I think Bohemian Rhapsody blew up, and now everyone's doing it about every artist. But here we're seeing some of the fine details about picking a song, practicing it, performing it in a competition that you can enter. This is what most of us can actually experience. So I like that this is more grounded and a more realistic look at like what you can see. Yeah. But since there's a competition, now we dip our toes into some cliches. The other rival musicians are so hell-bent on beating Kusei because he beat them in a competition 2 years ago. They've been training endless hours for this. This is their whole life goal. Even outside of music, Tsubaki and Ryota play some sport games, soccer, softball matches, and they break down crying because they lost and it means so much to them. I understand that they're all just kids. This is dramatic, and it is an anime, and it's supposed to be entertaining. For example, spiky hair guy refuses to go play overseas to get exposure there and become the world famous musician and all that stuff. And he stays here just to have a chance of beating Kosei and misses his window. Like, who would ever do that? Performing as a musician is not this hectic. It's just playing a rehearsed piece of music. So in this way, it starts to feel like a cliche sports anime, like this one and this one and this one. I'm going to just look up the first three. And from what I've seen from those, it's giving sports anime. That's what I'm saying, you know? The animation is great. The musical pieces are definitely animated well. They either got the accuracy 100% or close enough that it looks pretty legit, you know? What you're seeing here should be close enough to seeing a real person play. During the songs, there are flashbacks of past events, and I did mention this before, so their thoughts and emotions, what they're doing and dealing with while they're playing. So there's a lot of plot during the song, which I didn't expect. And it is true that music is a powerful creative tool. It can evoke a lot of emotions. At the same time, the audience also hears someone playing and immediately knows, oh, he's angry, oh, he's got inner conflict. And then he does the flashback thing, and they immediately notice, oh, he's playing just changed. Now he's sad. Oh no. No, that's not entirely realistic. If someone plays something faster, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're angry. And if they play slower, it's not because they're sad. Typically, tempo just happens to fluctuate for no reason at all. And with that being said, it's not a bad thing for the show. The point is that music is emotional, and musicians do convey some of their emotions during a song. And so I'm fine with that being a part of the show. It serves its purpose. One thing that did get annoying, I just have to note, was when a performance finished, there was a bit of silence and then a massive applause. Like the applause is people screaming, that's how happy they are. But if that happens after every performance, then the applause starts to lose its impact, like, oh, they just did that with every song. Okay, cool. Now, used to it, you know. And lastly, the actual songs that they played were on and off for me. Most were cool, but some were weird. So that being said, I give this show a 7 out of 10. It wasn't breathtakingly amazing, but it's still a good watch. Solid story and visuals. I enjoyed this one a lot. If you're a fan of instruments and music and performance, then you might like this. Side rant. I watched this, I'm saying when I was a kid, but when I was super, super young. And I still listen to Goose House to this day. Goose House is played in the intro sequence for like the first half of the season. So yeah, the songs in the show are bangers. I listen to them now to this day. Yeah, the music is cool, but the music industry just doesn't pay very well. That is a real shame. That is a real shame. But that's a story for another day. Good to see music being represented in such an interesting way and with lots of drama. Nice. Good stuff. Anyway, that is all for now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.